You're not good enough. Why are you so lazy? Who are you kidding? You'll never be as
You don't
smart. You
belong.
can't
You're
do
an
it.
imposter.
You'll never amount to anything. Does this sound like the voice inside your head too? It's pretty miserable, isn't it? These critical and self-limiting thoughts. But what if I told you that by consciously choosing and leaning into misery every day, you could achieve anything you've ever wanted? Meet Wim Hof, also known as the ICEMAN. On March 16th, 2000, he set a Guinness World Record for the farthest swim under ice, 188 feet, 6 inches, all in one breath. On January 26, 2007, he ran the fastest half marathon while barefoot on ice and snow. That's 13 kilometers in 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 34 seconds. And in January 2010, he set the world record for the longest time in direct full body contact with ice. That's 1 hour and 44 minutes. See why they call him the Iceman? Then meet me, Whitney, a 5-foot, 110-pound native Californian who's always hated the cold. I grew up in a town literally named Sunnyvale and went to college in sunny San Diego. My medical school classmates could easily spot me in the library wrapped up in a red blanket that I always kept in the backseat of my car. If you asked me to pick between paddleboarding in Hawaii or skiing in the Swiss Alps, hands down, I would pick Hawaii every time. Suffice to say, Wim Hof and I are complete opposites when it comes to our temperature preferences. While his morning routine involves hopping into an ice bath, mine starts with me cranking up the heat and making a scalding hot cup of tea. But you don't see me setting any world records. Wim Hof, on the other hand, has set 21. And what's even more impressive to me than his extraordinary physical feats is his mindset, his limitless beliefs.
We are actually born to be great, to feel great. We are capable of becoming happy without the need of anything else. Unconditionally happy.
And he's convinced that everyone can learn to unleash their own superhuman potential.
That is our purpose. You learn to be the alchemist of your own body and your own mind. You are born to be more than the normal standard, to be super, man.
This Dutchman attributes his powers to 3 core practices: deep breathing exercises, commitment, and most terrifyingly, daily cold plunges. Deliberately stepping into an ice-cold shower every morning is definitely something I would consider misery.
Don't enjoy this.
I have no idea why I threw myself under a cold shower one morning, but if this simple practice could help me control my body and mind to do extraordinary things, what did I have to lose? More importantly, what if I had everything I could ever want to gain?
You did it!
So, I put on my big girl pants and I downloaded the Huberman Lab episode on deliberate cold exposure. So what did Huberman say that made me finally join the cold shower cult? The cool thing about deliberate cold exposure is that it's a good stress. More scientifically, eustress. In his 1976 publication, Stress in Health and Disease, endocrinologist Han Selye distinguishes distress, or stress that causes undesirable effects, from eustress, or stress that can yield positive outcomes. While most of life's stressors cause an increase in cortisol, which is harmful in the long term and thus a distress, deliberate cold exposure does not increase cortisol and in fact increases dopamine, therefore a eustress. We can leverage the increases in noradrenaline to help boost our focus and alertness, and the increases in dopamine to help boost our mood for at least 2 hours afterwards. As Dr. Selye noted, man needs stress and should use his faculties to the maximum of their tolerance for eustress. Recently, it's been hard for me to drag myself out of bed and stay consistent with my morning routine. I've been feeling major imposter syndrome and stress with my new YouTube endeavor. Every day, my mind would flood with thoughts of, you look stiff on camera. Your editing is so amateur. You have 0 experience in content creation. You should just stick to medicine. You're no good at that either. Do you really think you're providing value? I have no idea why I threw myself under a cold shower one morning.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, tell people.
But that day, I think I was just tired of getting in my own way. With medicine, with content creation, with my inner thoughts.
Wait, is the water here cold?
it's cold outside, so it should be.
Okay, you just like do it here. I'm so scared.
There was no one else holding me back but me.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, we'll do 3 seconds, yeah? 3 seconds today. Okay.
How many seconds?
Three.
Can you show it? Show the camera. Show the camera.
Ready? You're the French like that.
Now, I would be lying to you if I told you that I happily jumped into a cold shower every morning after that. But what I did prove to myself that day, in those 3 seconds, was that I could do the thing that I never thought I would. And I was proud, and I felt empowered.
Don't die. My foot is cramping.
So if you want to train your mind to feel limitless, here are 3 tips from Dr. Huberman. 1. Fear is your superpower. Huberman suggests a protocol wherein you decide beforehand how many mental walls you'd like to overcome in any given cold exposure session. 3 walls is a good place to start. These walls represent the surge in adrenaline and noradrenaline associated with the stress, aka it's working. So if it's a battle to even get in the shower, this fear is the first wall. For me, pulling the shower faucet handle was the second wall. And finally, stepping under the cold was the third. So lean into the fear. Use it as a wall. It's not really the cold itself that provides the benefits, but the exposure to stress hormones that toughens your mind. You're not weak for being scared to even step into the tub. This actually works in your favor. 2. Keep moving. Curling up and staying still allows us to develop a warm thermal layer that can rob us of the benefits of cold exposure. So keep moving and expose the palms of your hands, which, along with the soles of your feet, are areas of the body that allow the most rapid cooling. 3. Embrace the cold and grind it out. You can try and keep calm with Wim Hof breathing, which is a double inhale followed by extended exhale, or just slow deep breaths. But I found that leaning into the cold and really experiencing it actually makes it less miserable. It's been more than 2 weeks now that I've been taking daily cold showers. And let me just say, it's not the muscle recovery that appeals to me, although I have noticed that my muscles are less sore after heavy lifts. It's not the lasting increase in core metabolism, although it'd be nice to finally get a 6-pack. It's not the elevated dopamine levels afterwards, although I have found myself to be much less crabby. It's not even the improved cold tolerance that would help me finally ditch that safety blanket, but it's the mental grit, the ability to know that I can do anything I put my mind to, and so can you. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and tell you that all my negative thoughts have magically vanished. But with repeated practice, now every time I step under the cold water, those I'm not good enough thoughts quiet for a moment. And I'm reminded I can do anything. I can do anything. I can do anything. So one of my theories of why cold exposure is so effective in elevating our mood is related to the idea in this paper that we are happiest when we are fully present. And the shock of icy cold water is so intense that our mind is forced to be 100% focused on the present moment. I talk more about another way that you can train your mind to be more fully present and increase your levels of happiness in this video about Dr. Huberman's space-time bridging meditation. Hopefully this was helpful to you and leaves you feeling empowered to give it a try tomorrow morning. See you next time. Bye.